On March 16th, the Fusionfall Legacy team released a group of silhouettes that hinted at 8 new characters coming into the Fusionfall Legacy universe eventually. On March 23rd, the silhouettes expanded, and we haven't been able to figure out what all of the characters are yet, although we are able to name some of them. I made this video because I was having a tough time typing this all through text, and I didn't want one comment on the forums that spanned a whole page. Trust me, you'll thank me if you ever see this script. And at the very end, I'll discuss some interesting information that we learned in the description for the picture released on the 23rd. Now, starting with the smaller picture, it's much easier to guess what these characters actually are. The 3 characters that are already shown are Chicken from Cow and Chicken, Larry 3000, and Buck, both from Time Squad. Larry 3000 was already somewhat featured in Fusionfall. There was a mission in the future called Bring Me the Head of Larry 3000, where you had to, surprise surprise, find Larry 3000's detached head in the infected zone called Megas' Last Stand to complete the time machine in order to travel to the future. The cat-like shadow on the far left and the blob with legs right next to it clearly represent Gumball and Darwin Watterson from The Amazing World of Gumball. This is confirmed in the second picture, so I'll talk about those two later. The shadow above Darwin's head is pretty easy too. The antlers in the hat along with the crooked neck match exactly what Scoutmaster Lumpy is from Camp Lazlo. This is interesting as he is the first Camp Lazlo character to be unofficially confirmed for Fusionfall Legacy. The show mainly follows Lazlo, as the title implies, and his friends Raj and Clam, so this hopefully is a hint in the right direction that more Camp Lazlo characters will on the way. I know you have that Lazlo model, Wilt. I know you do! Lumpus has a strong chance of appearing at any of the Camp Lazlo areas in the wild, such as Camp Kidney, Prickly Pines, Acorn Flats, Leaky Lakes, or the Pimpleback Mountains. The next character is the taller one in the middle. The only identifiable feature is his haircut, which is very similar to Rolfe's from Ed, Edd n Eddy. As the leader of the Urban Rangers, it is very possible it is Rolfe, as there are a lot of Urban Rangers scattered across the Fusionfall world. It also makes sense as Rolfe is one of the most popular Ed, Edd n Eddy characters that wasn't in Fusionfall to begin with. A nice spot for Rolfe to be would be in Peach Creek Commons, or an area around there, as that's where the Urban Rangers are based out of. Maybe he could turn Pokeoke's Gazebo into an Urban Ranger base, or the Powerpuff Girls house, because let's face it, Pokeoke's needs some NPCs. The final character is up for debate. There are around 3 characters that people think it could be. The first and least likely option is Nurgle Jr. from Billy and Mandy, although the hair is a bit off, and the only thing keeping this afloat is the glasses and the build of the outline. The next character could be is Otto from Time Squad. Kinda makes sense, as the 2 characters that are next to him are based off Time Squad. The glasses fit him too, and he is skinny, although the hair does not match. The final speculated character, and the one that I think it is Erwin from Billy and Mandy. The hair and the glasses are on point, but Erwin is a tad bit overweight, but it's really not that unnecessary given the build of the silhouette. I think Erwin would be a great candidate for an NPC at the nuclear plant behind Billy's house in Ensville. He'd also make a good NPC standing around Eternal Vistas or Meadows, either outside the gate to the Vistas Cemetery or outside the infected zone in Eternal Meadows. Now, we move on to the second image, which contains characters already featured in Fusionfall, although they were shoehorned in and are being repurposed to help fit the plot better. This helps as we can pinpoint some harder to see characters using official artwork. Now, before we begin, we can see that Gumball and Darwin have been officially confirmed. It is difficult to see where they'll be added in, but they could also be added in their hometown of Elmore. Since they live in the suburbs, they might be added into some of the suburban areas like Pokeoke's, Candy Cove, or Peach Creek. Chicken, Buck, and Larry 3000 are still using the same artwork, so there's not much news about them. On the left, we can get a much better view of Scoutmaster Lumpus, although it's hard to tell whether or not that arm underneath him is part of his art or someone else's, but it looks like it is his. At the very top, we can see Truffles from Chowder, or a Fungus. It is unsure what part Truffles plays in the war. She could be a vendor that sells food items as she does in the show, or just a normal NPC. I would assume that Marzipan City would be the area she's found in. But if they don't add Marzipan, maybe somewhere like Townsville Center or Orchid Bay. Next to Truffles on the right, we can see the Ice King's crown. Ice King played a role in the Lazily Done mission arc where he captured different princesses from the world, but other than that, nothing. I'd assume he stays in his castle, but the castle probably won't be located off the map in Orchid Bay, and he'll probably have his original home in the land of Oo. Next to the Ice King is Rex from Generator Rex. He played somewhat of a part in the new Academy tutorial, but after that, he didn't see much. Instead of the Providence base being in Townsville Park, Providence will probably get its own location for a base, and Rex will probably be moved there. It is hard to tell what is next to Rex, as that can be 2 separate characters or one whole one. Judging by the hair only, I'd have to guess it's Kevin from Ed, Edd n Eddy, or it's just a new image of Rolfe. It's pretty off the wall, as the only thing I have to guess off is the hair that is coming out of the shape of what can be seen as a backwards baseball cap. The 2 on the far right clearly seem to be Flapjack and Knuckles from the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. Flap may retain its spot at Leaky Lake, continuing to look for Knuckles and Bubby, or he might be moved to Stormalong Harbor or Candied Island if they're made. In the original Fusionfall, Flapjack doesn't know where Knuckles is, so that might be a good opportunity for a nice mission line. On the top of Knuckles' hat is the secret snail from Adventure Time. In the original game, the snails teleported you to secret grottos that gave you Adventure Time themed items from a crate. It is unknown whether or not their function will stay the same. Finding the secret snails was definitely fun, but I would not be mad if they had one of the snails be a normal NPC with missions and such. On the bottom, you can clearly see the outline of Chowder. I think Chowder will probably be moved from the cul-de-sac either to Marzipan or another area. Whether or not they keep the missions from Chowder's incredible journey is another thing. I was not too fond of them, but going in Chowder's mouth was very unique. The last one that doesn't involve pure speculation is the one behind Larry 3000. Using the official art from the game, you can see that the feet and hand belong to none other than VV Argos from the Secret Saturdays. Argos was in the original game for the Fusionfall Thanksgiving event where he had you hunt down a fusion blowfish and broadcast it on TV. I could see him being placed in either a Secret Saturdays related area, I never watched the show, can't think of any, or somewhere in the Twisted or Really Twisted Forest area. Next comes the part where I analyze the minuscule details I see and try to add method to my madness. On the floor to the right of Chowder, you can see what looks to be pincers. The only character I can remember with pincers in Fusionfall is Jeff the Spider from Billy and Mandy. However, the official art doesn't match up, so they made a new art for him, or it's someone else. A community member from the forum showed us that these might actually be the legs of Cheese from Foster's Home, which makes some sense, although I'm pretty sure Cheese was added to Heroes Hollow before the Academy update. However, his nano missions seem very forced. Adding Cheese to the mix, it seems that a character who fits in perfectly well in the middle would be Dracula from Billy and Mandy. He was one of the first, if not the first NPC made for an event, being in the cul-de-sac for Halloween selling pumpkin crates and the holosuit. Next to Buck on the left, we can see a raised arm. This may be Mordecai from Regular Show doing his famous "oh," but the arm really doesn't resemble his. And it's at a different angle. The flat top next to him may be the top of Irwin's head, as he's the only one from the last picture that we haven't seen anything related to him yet. The final thing of note is in the picture description. Wilt said, "We'll have an explanation for all our new character additions sometime in the future," in italics. This is a pretty solid hint that the future will be added, combined with the image of the time machine and Dexter's ship from either Tech Square the Future or Green Maw. The future could return as the level 1 through 4 tutorial era, or they can make the time machine a more vital item in the game where you have to travel from the past to the future and vice versa throughout the story. And that's all I could find. Thanks for listening to my crazy speculation. I'll probably do more of these for each reveal of the week, provided there's something to discuss. And even though this was fun to make, it would be much more fun with others. So in the next couple weeks, if you want to discuss the reveals or game in a group, shoot me a message on YouTube or the FFL forums. Well, that's it for me. Like if you liked, comment your feedback, and subscribe so you don't miss the next week's episode. That would be such a shame, wouldn't it?